Hi everybody, welcome to Shifting Lives. I'm your host, Zanele Ndlovu. Shifting Lives is the epicenter of self-growth and development for you who desire to live an abundant life of purpose as you walk into your divinity while navigating life on earth. It is a home for motivation, encouragement, and spiritual growth. A safe place for vulnerability as well as celebrations. Hi guys, welcome back to another week of Shifting Lives. And this week I want us to talk about changing seasons. Yes, it is spring in our country and it is everything blooming, everything colorful. It is so beautiful to walk outside and see the beauty of nature and the trees. And now listen to me, I'm talking about the beauty of nature in spring. And the truth is, all season round there's beauty of nature. Whether it's winter, summer or autumn, because nature in itself is designed to occupy that space in that season, becoming that version of a tree, it does not make it any less beautiful. And that's what I want to talk about today, okay? That even though we are transitioning into this beautiful season of colorfulness and brightness, it does not mean the previous season was not at its peak beautiful, okay? And that also, it has to do with our lives as well. We are constantly going through these changes in our lives where every single time we feel like the past is dull, where we feel like the past does not have beauty in it because there's so much hurt and maybe so much coldness and there was just too much dryness in that season. However, there's always beauty in that season. And today, talking about changing seasons, I want us to realize that with every season, there is beauty in that. Because the first thing that we need to realize is that for every season, there's a different version of us that needs to be birthed. And I think we get so comfortable in a space where, because I've been this way for so long, that even when the season changes and requires of me to be something else, this requires for me a version that I am not comfortable to tap into, then I feel like there's no beauty in that season. The truth is there is. Whether your season is dry, whether your season is windy, whether there's snow somewhere in your life, whether you feel cold and alone and lonely, the beauty is that there's a version of you there, right there in that coldness, in that lonely place that is being birthed. And the more we pay attention to the features and the alignment that God is bringing into our lives, it becomes easy for us to tap into exactly what God has called us into. And for some of us, the spring season and the summer seasons are the only two seasons where we allow ourselves to bloom, where we allow ourselves to show up in the world. And the truth of the matter is that sometimes we lose the beauty of showing up in winter, showing up when the season is not favorable for me, showing up when the season feels like I'm just too much to handle myself in the season. There's just too many things happening. And when we show up in a season like that, we are not showing up out of our feelings. We are not showing up out of how I feel today, but I'm showing up out of the fact that I have a purpose for this season. And whatever God is doing in this season, I don't want to miss it. Now, I'm not talking only about spring. I'm not talking about the blooming season. I'm talking about the whole year-round season. Each and every season requires a version of us to tap into. It requires for us to grow into something that we were comfortable in, to grow out of it. It requires for us to tap in to say, God, what is it that you're doing to me in this season? What are you doing through me in this season? What are you doing with me in this season? And that is something that is constantly happening each and every season. God does not only work in the season that is more favorable for you. He works even in the seasons when it is not favorable for you. He works in the seasons of your loss. He works in the seasons of your griefs. He works on the seasons of your insufficiencies, your insecurities, all of that thing, because in each and every season, there are parts of those insecurities that you need to let go of. Because if we are going to go into a new season with old mentality, with old expectations, with old ideas, we won't be able to fulfill who God is calling us to be in this new season. And that is why it is very important for each and every one of us, as we tap into who God has called us to be, as we tap into our divinity, as we tap into the purpose that God has for our lives. The most important question to ask with every transition is, God, what is it that you are doing in this season that I'm not aware of? Because when we lose sight of what God is doing, we lose sight of what we need to be doing in this season. There are some seasons where we need to just be still and quiet. And there are seasons where we need to talk. There are seasons where we need to have company around us, and there are seasons where we need to be isolated and be in the wilderness. The Bible teaches us that there's a time and a season for everything, a season to plant and a season to reap. So if I am reaping something in a season when I need to be planting, then surely I am actually now aborting what God has put in me. I'm acting outside of what God is calling me to do, because I am not walking and working in alignment with Him. So it is very important that as we change and we transition into seasons, that we don't lose sight of the fact that even the season that just ended, cold as it may be, it was worth it that I had to go through that season. It was worth it that I had to be in that season, because there's a part of me that was birthed in that season that now can function better in this season. There are parts of us that if we had not gone through what we went through in the previous seasons, we wouldn't be able to survive these seasons. It may be hot, it may be a beautiful season, but for you, that heat may be too much to bear. For someone else, that heat may be their way to actually boil themselves into purpose. So if you are not aligning yourself to understanding the creation of God, and that everything revolves with time, and with time there's God who controls time, you will miss what purpose you need to unleash in this season. And I don't wish that for you. I want you to tap into this new season, whichever part of the world you are in, whether it is winter right now, whether it is autumn for you, whether it is spring, whether it is summer, wherever you are in the world. I want you to tap into the season and say, Lord, reveal to me what you are doing in my life in this season, so I don't lose sight of who I need to become. I don't lose sight of who I am. I don't lose sight of what I need to unleash. Walk with God so that whatever purpose that needs to be unleashed in this season of your life, you don't miss it. That's the beauty with walking with God, that you get to tap into spaces and events of your life that you know nothing about. That only God can orchestrate those events, and you can, though you may not be prepared for some of the things that God will bring upon your life or will bring to you, but you will know that God's hand is with me in this season. You may not feel it, sometimes you may not even see it, but when you believe that each and every season is orchestrated by God, there is nothing surprising to God. So whatever you're going to be going through in this changing season, it will either be a will of God or out of the will of God. Either way, God is always in it. God is always in your transitioning. God is always holding your hand. And what you don't want is to miss the opportunity to be who God has called you to be in this season. Seasons are for changes. And if we don't allow ourselves to change and become, then what we are telling God is that what you have created in me does not have the potential to be what you think it can be. What we are saying to God is that what you have created in me does not have the benefit to unleash what the world needs. And what you are saying to God, if you fail and you disregard the opportunity to walk into your changing season, transformative, then you are saying to God, listen, God, I'm okay the way I am. I don't need you to change me. I don't need you to functionalize me. I don't need you to distribute me into any part of the purpose or world that you are calling me to. So you are telling the creator thing is telling the creator that I cannot function at the ability that you think you've created me for. And I think that wouldn't be making sense for you, neither for God, because He knows what He has put in you. He knows how much you can do. And what we need to do in this changing seasons is, as much as we celebrate the beauty, whether you're celebrating the snow, whether you're celebrating the falling of leaves, whatever that you are celebrating in this changing seasons, do not lose sight of the fact that it is God that orchestrates all these events. And the events in your life that are currently happening, only God knows about. So who better to ask and ask for leadership in your life as you navigate this changing seasons, as you navigate this person you are becoming, as you navigate getting to know the vision of you that is demanded in this season, because it is demanded. Whether you like it or not, you will either change forcefully or willingly. Either way, something is going to happen in your life that will require you to change. And I would advise you to do it willingly, because the best gift you can give yourself is your ability to discover who you are each and every time given the opportunity to do so. So that is what I wanted to share with you as we are entering into this beautiful, colorful season. It is the end of a season, but it is most importantly to recognize that it is the beginning of one. So whatever you are ending, whatever chapter you are closing, be prepared to walk into the best chapter of your life, because the best is yet to come, and the goodness of the Lord shall follow you all the days of your life. Enjoy this new season. Walk in it with power and purpose. Walk with it knowing that God has called you for such a time as this. We are changing seasons. New things are beginning. New things are coming alive. You don't want to miss this version of you as you are becoming. That's all I had for you for today. Thank you so much for listening. Do connect with me. I've put my link on all my social pages on the description of this podcast. Do rate the podcast, rate my episode, and I would really love to hear from you. Send me an email, give me a shout. Let's connect. Bye.